Hello, welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is episode number 45. This one reviewing the 832nd episode of the One Piece anime series, A Deadly Kiss, Mission to Assassinate the Emperor kicks off, and the 901st chapter of the One Piece manga, If You Die, Don't Die. Yeah, kind of an odd name for these particular things. First off, let's talk about the newest episode of the anime. Yeah, with this one, it kind of picks up right where the last left off, and it shows off that the altar is actually also the wedding cake, which is interesting choice. Need something?
Yeah.
just sit down in bed and record this. Anyways, yeah. Luffy is still asleep, so they had to wake him up by basically giving him a plate full of meat, like meat on an actual bone, and of course he's still eating it. So before they did that, G-May was smacking him, yelling at him, yelling right through his ear. It's so bizarre. And of course the wedding scene is so close to getting kicked off. Let's see what else. Yeah, when they get to the part where Pudding's about to shoot Sanji, because Sanji sees her third eye, which is on her forehead, he sees like, wow, what a beautiful eye. And it shows like a flashback of when she was younger, she got chastised for having that third eye, where everybody, including her own mother, says the eye creeps them out. And her mother's like, tells her to grow out her bangs. These close the front of her hair just to cover it up. Though she's able to actually close it a lot of the time. She doesn't open up like a lot. And she's about to shoot him, but she drops the gun after he compliments her on her eye. And then the priest takes out a gun, tries to shoot him, and then the Katakuri just flicks a jelly bean at him, knocks the guy over. Of course, Sanjay dodges it. And the episode kind of ends in the most hilarious way possible by having like shaking, and then poof, something comes out of the cake, and it's like a half a dozen Luffy's. It's so funny, and Luffy's eating part of the cake, and Big Mom is getting so angry. What a hilarious way to end the episode. The episode itself was adapted from chapter 862, which pretty much adapted the entire chapter with the exception of the opening cover page. And overall, this was a really good episode, and I kind of enjoyed it. Alright, now for the 901st chapter of the manga, which is the If You Die, Don't Die. The cover story features one of the giants. I'm not sure who this woman is supposed to be. Could be anybody. And then we see Puff's Island. Big Mom just finished eating the wedding cake from the last chapter. She's like, man, that was so delicious. And one of her sons like, Mama, you're the captain. Guess what situation? First of all, Benja's crew was nearby, and of course the Straw Hat ship disappears. Like, what happened to the ship? That's not the Straw Hat ship, and it's a Sun Pirate ship. And it turns out the ship was built by Fishman Tiger. He was a character from just before the time skip was mentioned as a fishman who liberated a bunch of slaves from Mary Jo's, the Holy Land in the One Piece manga. He later died after being shot by a bunch of Navy men. And of course, Wombo, I think his name is, takes the Straw Hat ship, puts it in his mouth, and of course he swims underwater while holding his breath. He actually is kind of a fisherman now where he's able to hold his breath and he's able to get really bigger for some reason. And also, he has the voice of a little boy, despite the fact he looks like a guy in his 30s. And of course, they show like a little before that, where they show everybody shocked to see him, and of course they all went inside his mouth, and Alvin goes nuts. We see a flashback of Aladdin's wife, this hammerhead mermaid, who can also walk on land as well. And Aladdin's like, but anyone who wants to escape, go ahead. Prepare yourselves. And they decided to just kind of stay behind. And of course, they're simply chased by Big Mom's giant flagship. It looks like it's a combination of about 3 ships in one, with words Big Mom on the sail with her symbol on it, which is a skull with red lips, and her pirate hat that she commonly wears. And the thing is alive. And of course, they're all firing at the Straw Hat ship. Oven tries to burn gets a fight with Aladdin, tries to burn the ocean. He says it takes a few hours to get Big Mom's territory, and he's like, he can't leave his whole crew behind. Luffy's like, I understand. So he says, so we'll succeed, come back alive. He says, don't forget, I'm your captain now. We'll wait for you in Wano. You must come. And he's like, I can't thank you enough. And he says the line of the title. If you die, don't die. And of course, Big Mom is still racing on her, I don't know, looks like a fish. She looks like she's surfing, going straight to the Straw Hat ship, and she's already out of the ocean. She wants to fight now. You see briefly, Benj and his wife. You see the Tardy ship, and we see a little bit of flashback, talk about what happened to Fishman Allen. And he says, don't underestimate us. And the chapter ends with a bird's like, this was one of the guests of the party, says, he's like, you sound like you're on his side. I am. Straw Hat is the prime candidate after all. Here's what I think, Saucy. Among the recently referred to as the worst generation, one of them will become the next Pirate King. So, interesting a very good chapter. This one definitely looks like it's pretty much just about the end of this particular arc that's been going on now for 77 chapters. And that's much else. I'm looking forward to next week's episode, and of course the 903rd, the 902nd chapter. I don't have a name for it yet. The next week's episode is, well, when Jinbei Fish becomes part of the crew, drinking a sake cup. Yep. Yeah, it's a thing in Japan whenever they change sake cups, something they did in the past, so I guess a lot of manga writers just love using sake. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode 46 next week, where I'll cover that 800th and 33rd chapter, ending the 102nd chapter One Piece manga, okay? But we'll see you all there. Bye.